Hello guys, and welcome to another Waves on Cryptos. A bit late this week due to a personal matter, but we are here again, and we're gonna have another analysis on BTC. See what's happened since last week and where we could be potentially heading. And for the first time, also, Core Inner Cycle team voted. There was a tie between Dent and ELROND, but I chose to do ELROND because we haven't done it before. So it's going to be an interesting video again. Okay, so buckle up and let's see what the markets can take us. It's an important week that we have just started, and we've also had an important week last week, technically speaking. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean in very shortly. Before we start the video, don't forget, none of this is educational. None of this is investment advice. It's just educational for educational purposes. And I hope you do like the video, share, and connect. Leave your comments if you have, of course, alternatives or questions. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And let's not forget also that in the description, in the caption, you can see my free Discord group, where also, of course, there is a paid version for more insights, more in-depth analysis, and all of that you can check once you join the free community. So let's jump to the charts. We'll start with BTC as always. We'll go to ELROND, and well, let's see how long this time will take us. Okay, so as I was saying, I wanted to start on BTC, and I want to start on BTC in the longer term. Last time that we've talked about the longer term count, we looked at this as a potential wave A to the downside. So that is supposedly the end of 4. Then we're expecting to see a decent move up for the end of wave B, and then another leg down for wave C. Now, obviously, that is the main for now, because we seem to have 5 waves going down with no overlaps between them, which means, well, for now, that has to be a case where, this is a progression to the downside. So 5 waves unrolling. I don't want to have a different main, to be fair. So 1 and 2, 3, which is the usual case of the breakout, in the third. Then we are looking at 4. We return back to the channel, the descending channel, but obviously we failed to cross above the base channel of the longer term. I expect one more leg down, then the B, and then the C. Now, let me just take it a little bit further out. I want to show you when we started this this leg to the upside on December 18. Actually, it was previous run. Well, that is a point of interest, reference point, right? So we'll connect that to wave 2, and we'll connect, of course, that top wave 1, which was the 19th the year of high. And you see, we got the base channel, guys, and the base channel has been penetrated, and we'll have a valid and confirmed breakout below that level now. Okay, and we've had also a confirmed breakout. Look exactly where we've had, guys, a breakout exactly at the crossover between these 2 channels. You see that, right? The one that comes down, the one that goes up. And now we've rejected bulls, and we started moving lower down, right? So this is interesting, to see this sort of rejection here, because if we see like 3 days, and I think we will see. Hold on. Yes. Well, this is a confirmed rejection for me, because you stay below that price for 3 days. On the daily, at least, this is the case. Now, Apart from that, guys, and if we go out on the weekly, yeah, I don't want to add too much here, but the 200 moving average, it's also exactly where we've stopped. And that adds a bit more downside pressure. I would even say conviction. Okay, this is exactly where we stopped. So not only do we have the base channel, okay, the sort of rejection before we get to the top of the channel, but the 200 MA, yeah, the only thing that offsets a bit of the pressure that we can see to the downside now is the fact that we've actually ended back within this medium term, I would say, descending channel. We're back within, but wave 4, it's usually returning back within the channel, unless if the move is very accelerated to the downside, which we don't expect at this current level, because we just want to see one more leg to the downside from the correct, or even reverse. Now, leaving this chart and go on BTC, and as you can see, we're looking at the main, which is exactly the same thing here, right? But we'll have a bit more detail. So, wave 1 was a WX and Y. Wave 2 seems to be a WX and Y as well. Okay. Now, this is something that usually, is not seen. But if we're also fair with ourselves, that can also be seen like a 5-wave leg. And that can still be seen as a triangle. And that can still be seen like a 5-wave leg. So, worst case, I would say that, we can change this to an ABC and fill the guideline. There is nothing wrong with calling this an ABC. So that is pretty much, for me, a case where we either have ended up here in wave Y and we're going to start moving lower down. We're going to see some targets now, or we might get one more short-term the upside leg and then start falling. Now, we did retest this low, guys. We didn't just retest it, we actually violated it. Okay, this can be important because if there is a second attempt to the upside, I repeat, there is more chances of entering within this territory much further, much deeper in, if that makes sense. When we see a violation, I repeat, there is more chances that on the return we see a deeper move versus when we just get to the previous, to a certain level without the violation, if that makes sense. So if we had stopped here at 23.85, for example, right, then that would be a complete flip of a support to resistance, okay, and that would be a case where we'll go down, more chances that will go down. Now, 1 and 2, nearly 138. Next level down is around 15, according to that, to the Fibonacci. But if we assume that a wave 4 is also in, we come down to 44 to 1450, give or take. Since we are here also, we're going to use just the third. Gives us 1645 and 13K. All of these levels should be noted down, guys. And from another perspective, measured move, which is the length of wave 4, brings us down to around 1380. And of course, 1450 again. 1450 appears 3 times so far from what I see, right? But you've also got the, the 70, the 1620 and 1563. All of these are levels to take into account. Now on the third, guys, and to be fair as well, because this is an extended third wave that is not as extended as it usually should be, which indicates there is less pressure to the downside when we look at it from a medium-term perspective from up here, right? If, of course, that's the third. So, given that, we should be able to go up to 26 to 38. The guidelines actually say that the fourth wave does usually correct to the 38. Okay, that's the 26, but it could also be seen as the 38 of the full leg to the upside from the top, actually, not to the upside, which brings us to, well, the 23 exactly here. You see that? Exactly where we stopped. And the 38 is up to 30K. What does this mean, guys? Is that we can actually see that 1, 2, 3, we can see this turn into an A, B, and C, and still be in wave 4, and then go down for wave 5. Make sense? Yes, makes sense. That's what I want to hear, right? If we go close to 30K, we might as well just go and retest the 32,450 or so, because in this particular case, guys, well, we'll have the double 4, which is a very usual guideline on Elliott waves. Okay, so the fourth and the fourth meet at the same place. What else is interesting that this is the wave 1, so this is a level of invalidation, guys, pretty much. So if we break above like 33 or so, yeah, that is going to increase the chances of the low having been printed already. Okay, and that's the reality we have to swallow, let's say. So you can understand now with this move to the downside, things can progress downwardly faster. But what we also need to acknowledge is that this correction here, if it's in the same degree, lasted 63 days, and this correction over here so far is down like 32. So we're talking about nearly a 0.5 ratio here, right? The fourth wave and the second wave, yeah. And if we look at this upside as well, we went to the 50%. If we use the rule of the guidelines of alternation, supposedly, the two corrections, they should sum up to 100. That's a guideline though, right? So we could go up to 50, which is 29.30, not far from 30. And still we are valid, and still we actually fit more guidelines, right? So the upside is not impossible here, but it's just a bit weird if we just look at the structure. I'm going to go in the short term and I will explain, but also let's not forget we have some variations. One of them is that wave A is finished already, okay, and we've had wave 4 ending here, a bit shorter. The duration of the wave 4 versus the wave 2, it's a bit shorter as well. And then our unfinished, this is 1. We're going to get W, X, and Y here, 3, 4, and 5 for A, then B, and then C. Now, for me, this is the most bullish scenario that I can see. There is one more bullish, but I don't give it much chances, right? So it doesn't mean it cannot happen. When I say the most bullish, it doesn't mean that there is no other that is not more bullish. There is, but the most bullish that there is more chances, right? So that's the one. And then we go to the second variation of the main, which is, this being an ABC. Which means we ended here and we continue up again in a similar manner. That means that it's more bullish, but I give it less chances. Yeah. And then you've got the one that we used for like main for many months, okay, which could still be possible, but if we look at the duration of wave 4 and wave 2, it's not much likely because we also have the fifth wave going up here, right? That's the thing. It's not just the guideline, it's also structural. And because you might ask now, but dude, just earlier you said that your wave 4 in your main is a bit, it's like half the duration of wave 2. Yes, but structurally speaking, we are not concerned. And the reality is that structure comes before guidelines, guys. Okay, structure is very important. It's the most important. And this one, the W, X, and Y. Now this one means that we also finished. This is the most bullish, okay, of the scenarios that I have because we are in cycle wave 2 supposedly. So we're going to get 3, 4, and 5. It's going to be huge. And that's all there is for BTC long term. And now we'll go down. I will show you two different things here, guys. Okay, so we've got 1 and 2. You've got your 3 on. This is our 4th, right? Actually, the 1, 2 is not here. Should it be long? Anyway, short term, this is our third. This is our fourth. Now, as we go, by the way, in the group, paid group, you know, we have to adopt. So we've made a lot of chains going up and down according to new data. And that is okay, because what we care about is where are we heading. Okay, so wave A, and then you've got another A, you've got a B, and you've got a C. This is a flat in wave B, yeah. And then supposedly, because this is A, we're expecting 1, 2, 3. Look at this, 4 and 5, right? Now, do I think we're gonna see the fourth wave here coming? Well, the further we fall, the less likely. And we have to use some validation levels, guys, for our own benefit, first of all, but also for our own analysis. It's up to you what you want to use it. Sometimes it's rule-based, which is based on either waves. Sometimes it's both, you know, something like you want to use. I use the 50 Fibo most of the time. That's from the full length up there, from down here to up there, the last leg to the upside. So if we lose the 50, guys, to me that is the most likely case where sentiment changes and we're going to get bearish. So I still have one more last chance to see this holding, perhaps down to 21.20. Otherwise, this will be a case where my main is going to change to the yellow. Okay, so that's going to come. It could actually be even today when we see whether that happens or not. Now, we've had different variations here at play. The structure, it's looking, it's not easy to read because I understand there is a lot of volatility currently and there is more to come. Yeah, I mean, initially, just to give you an example, I've had this as a WX and I was waiting for wave Y. And that might still be the case that we're seeing here, right? So you can understand that, you know, it's something that we have to keep in mind. Now, if that happened, guys, the C, I mean, to me, it will be a case where this is an ending diagonal, right? But you got A and B, leading diagonal and B, then you're going to get an ending diagonal. And perhaps even it's already printing, right? Because we have the overlap here. So if we don't see a very quick move to the upside soon, probably this is done and we're going to move lower down. That means a reversal, without, of course, that necessarily being a case where there is nothing else to be seen. Okay, of course, there are other scenarios. And just to give an example, that is my old look, W, X, and Y. Maybe we're already done, and that is indeed the W, X, and Y. And that's going to be like 1 and 2, and that's 1 and 2, and then that's 1 and 2. So you can understand that we're going to have a lot of quite a big bearish implications. Other case, although I don't like the length of A or B versus the C, A, B, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's going to be an ending diagonal, right? As you can see, though, it's getting a bit weird. And the truth is, we don't care because we have invalidation. This is rule-based in this case. And the invalidation is down at 2068, okay? Because it's supposed to be, oh, hold on. Let me just do a rain check because maybe I gave you the wrong rule. Yes, the wrong rule will be an open diagonal, guys. Yeah, an open diagonal. So it has to go below the level we just talked about. It has to go, yeah? Not it cannot go, it has to go because an open diagonal has to have a wave 4 larger than wave 2. So that's all there is for BTC, guys. If we just quickly go back to the main, we need to pay attention to this channel. And if we start following this channel, we've already identified the 50%, which is the level where I will flip account, which means that will be a case where we're done. Now, if we do, because we might just go lower, right? We might just, this is A, B, and C, right? We might just go lower and we don't see a new low. That might turn into a W, X, and Y, guys, right? So it could be a case where this is W, we're gonna get X and then Y, and then we fall, right? So by the way, yeah, I've had this as a W, X, and Y initially, right? Yeah, that was the last change I did. So don't confuse the two counts because earlier I showed you the W, X, and Y. But we can actually switch both in the longer count. If you remember the wave 2 and the wave 4, either can be a W, X, and Y or an ABC with quite of good chances. Now this B being here means that our channel should be done here. False break, and we'll start moving lower. And let's go to Elrold, which we haven't really looked ever. Maybe I did like a year ago, who knows. So this is what we have on Elrold, guys. There is a clear 5-way leg to the upside for me. And unfortunately, depending on how you see this, that looks very similar to what I expect for BTC. Very similar. Wave A, wave B, and wave C, and then shoot higher. But that has, well, if that's the case, guys, that's going to be an amazing opportunity. Now, approximately, because we're on wave 2, look at this. 60% was nearly missed. Okay, so it could go down to 33 or 30 for the fifth, sorry, then go up in B. But realistically speaking, now since we're in crypto, okay, and I know you don't like that depth and the word realistically used in the same sentence, but wave 2 in crypto usually does 80% correction, even 85, and even sometimes more. So don't be surprised if we go much lower down after the reversal to the downside. Okay, talking about 15 and 10 even. Don't be surprised. Now, being here, we've got to identify some levels. If we assume the fourth wave is in, doesn't look like we have clusters. Maybe it's not in. Maybe we're going to get a triangle which is going to end around middle line of here. That makes a bit more sense, no? 10, 950, yeah, it does. But also, a measured move, if we assume, of course, again, wave 4 is done here, brings us to around 1690, okay? So all these levels are important. Now, okay, top to bottom, 62 and 38 would give us the 100 if wave 2 is here. You understand? We are from 1, 2, 3 all the way down to 3, yeah? So 62 is wave 2. Supposedly, according to guidelines to alternation, 38 would be where we can potentially stop. Now, that is a duplication for what we currently have. Okay? Duplication, 100x. Do I think we get there? Did I say 100x? No, not 100x. It's duplication. 100x would be 500. 5,000. So, back in here a little bit. And we're broken wave 4, by the way, right? So, look at this. It's supposed to be our wave 1, 35.20. That's why we missed the first time. It doesn't need to hold, guys. We don't really look at this. This is an impulse anyway, right? So its correction can go below 1. It's not an issue. Now, another case, of course. Actually, we're going to see the alternatives soon, but let's just finish here first. If we look at 1 and 2, third is just over 1. See, not much extended as well, which indicates to me that downside momentum is waning. So one more leg to downside, unless if we use wave 2 here, right? That's a different thing. We're a bit lower down, go to 20, for example, to finish wave A. Who knows? Now, looking at the third on its own, 38 is around 75 again. So the only problem we're facing right now is the structure. Can we get higher? And I will tell you what. First of all, I don't think wave 4 is finished here. Okay, I think we're gonna see a triangle. Yeah, that's what I think. It looks like it's actually turning into one, but we're gonna see actually whether the low of 46 holds. If we lose 46, then it could be a case where we ended up here. But if we ended up here, well, I would prefer to have my wave 2 here, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which means we would expect 4 and 5 again, and then we'll do end, if that makes sense, right? I repeat, we would have our wave 2 here. I would prefer that if this is the wave 4 done, because it lasts very little. Okay, the duration of it is very, very short. Now, what else can happen, of course? Like can turn into a flat, literally. Like, you know, we might see something like this and something like this. There will be a wave 4, and then we'll go down. We'll have room to go sideways. That's the reality. But you know, between like 65 and 37 or so, this is, you know, as you can understand, this is a very big range. Okay, very big range. Without though having done a fresh high here and with successive higher lows, it really suggests that there is a triangle. Okay, so if this is going to be a triangle, okay, I'm just a basic assumption here now. We're going to correct A, and then the C will be somewhere here. We would end around that level. This is the most highly active as well, right? So around 57 or so. So if 57 was our level, I'm gonna go to 57 here and use the measured move. It's not exactly how it should be moved, but approximately 24 is where wave should end. Okay. Now, in the shorter term here, because we don't necessarily need to have a triangle, what we have to do, since we have a bearish price action currently, we need to see whether this line can hold. First, what's going to happen around here? We are below the 50%. Okay, you can see that clearly, and we head lower, and then we just gotta use that 50% from the high, from actually even here. Yeah, see where we come again. We're below that. Okay, and all the way from the bottom to the top. Yeah, we are currently at 38, just broken 38. So the next level is down at 50, and it's also the 50%. Okay, so this is a mental cluster, if you want to call it. 50%, $50. So losing $50, guys, is going to be quite critical. Yeah, it will turn this in the short term bearish, short to medium term, I would say. Bearish, or could go even down to the previous low, you know, do a WX and Y, do a flat, anything. But given the structure and the length of this leg, I, as I was saying before, I don't think that, you know, we are done here. Simply also because this, you know, could be a flat even here. Let me show you. Look at this. So you gotta think 90 is done. You see that? So we have a flat. We can have a flat, and this one can be a leading diagonal, right? Equally. So A, B, C. Yeah. Let me just pull that here for you. And then we're going to see one more fiber leg to the upside, and that will be done. Now, though, for this ABC, guys, we've also got to acknowledge the fact that that looks like corrective, but could be a leading diagonal. Then we get 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll go up. Okay. Sometimes people see corrections, corrective looking moves to the downside, and they're like, okay, yeah, that's not a 5-wave. Like, well, 5 waves are motive waves, can be diagonal or impulse. Is it so far valid? Yes, it's an open-ended diagonal of the ones that don't look too open. Yeah, that would be the case here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth could be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around, who knows, maybe it's going to be the 50. Then we can get a correction and then move lower down for 3, 4, and 5 for the particular flat. But if not, guys, or what we could do is focus approximately on 57 if we start moving higher. Okay. Usually leading diagonals, if that's the case, correct quite a bit. They do the 79, so around 60 as well, it might be the case. Again, I repeat. But if we stay below 53, 50 is the next target, is the next target. If we lose 50, then most likely we'll continue lower down, which means, it could really be anything else. Now, I will quickly show you the alternatives I have for Elrold. I keep clicking that. And anything else apart from what I should. Okay, let's quickly grab those. Should be in an alternative, but anyway. And look at this. Still 5 were moved to the upside, still, right? But the downside is a W, X, and Y. Yeah? And could be done or not. And I will show you why now, why I have this float in here. Look, you got A, B, and C. A, B, C, D, E. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for A, then B, and then C. We're done. Leading diagonal, flat in corrective mode. Off we go. New highs, right? Or if this candle is W, this might be an A and a B here, yeah, and a C, and that might be 1 and 2, yeah, 3, 4, and 5 for A. We might get B and then C further down. Okay, so it really depends on how we see that structure. If we put wave X here, guys, as well, because we can have a flat here. Look at this. See, again, we do the 90, and to the upside we do the truncation, a valid truncation. So it could be W, X. Well, that would be, could be even A, B, and C, right? Or X, that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, and then we get B, and then we get C. Fish? Good. Now you might ask, why don't I have A and B here in this case? Well, I don't, because I'm counting internally, okay? And if we count internally, this is 1 and 2, this is 3 and 4 and 5. I would have preferred to have a bigger B here because it's in the immediate degree as well. It's very sudden otherwise, but I would do that only if X was here. If X was here, we have this wave 1 back, 3, 4, and 5, and A, B, C, okay? Just to give you an idea if you have that question. Now, either way, okay, you see that the game is going to be played here between 65 and 39, 40, whatever the level is. Okay? So until we break out above or below that level, there is no clarity, guys, I'm afraid. However, yeah, it looks like a sideways market on a downside trend. Very nice rejection at the bottom channel, but, and we are indeed above the median line, but without breaking outside the top, we are in a downtrend. That's gonna be all. Thank you for watching and take care.